Jason had always been fascinated by the ocean. As an experienced diver, he had explored countless wrecks, reefs, and underwater caves, but nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to encounter on that fateful afternoon. That day, the water was calm, the visibility was perfect, and he was diving alone. A routine exploration dive along the coastline. He had mapped out his route in advance, expecting to find nothing more than marine life and some old debris resting on the ocean floor. But as he descended deeper, something unexpected caught his eye. A massive metallic object, partially covered by sand and marine growth, lay still on the seabed. At first, he thought it was just another shipwreck, but as he swam closer, he noticed a symbol on the hull, one he instantly recognized. It was a marking from World War II. His breath quickened. His hands trembled slightly as he reached out, brushing away layers of algae and debris. The curved, rusted exterior, the torpedo tubes, still visible, it was unmistakable. He had just discovered a lost World War II submarine. Jason's mind raced. He knew wrecks like this were often left untouched for decades. Could this be an undocumented find? Could he be the first to lay eyes on this relic in decades? His excitement mixed with unease. He surfaced quickly to regain his composure, floating in the water as he processed what he had just seen. A part of him knew he should call the authorities. Submarine wrecks from World War II were often considered war graves, and disturbing them was not only dangerous, but also illegal in many places. But curiosity got the better of him. He had to see what was inside. Jason descended again, determined to find an entry point. Swimming carefully along the rusted hull, he finally spotted something. A partially open hatch, likely forced open by decades of corrosion and underwater pressure. This was his way in. Carefully, he maneuvered himself through the narrow opening, his diving flashlight illuminating the eerie darkness inside. The moment he entered, a foul stench filled his mask. It didn't make sense. After all these years underwater, how could any smell still linger? Pushing forward, he carefully navigated the cramped and decayed interior. The walls were covered in layers of rust. Wires hung loosely from the ceiling, and small schools of fish darted past broken equipment. Then, his flashlight beam landed on something that made his blood run cold. Sitting in one of the crew chairs was a human skeleton, perfectly preserved by the cold, low-oxygen environment inside the wreck. The skull tilted slightly, its hollow eye sockets staring back at him through the murky water. The skeletal hands were still gripping the rusted controls, as if the crewman had never left his post. Jason's stomach twisted, but it was about to get much worse. As he moved deeper inside, Jason noticed something even more unsettling. More skeletal remains. Some were scattered along the floor, others still in position, trapped in their final moments of life. A few were clustered near what looked like an escape hatch, suggesting they had tried, unsuccessfully, to flee when disaster struck. Panic started to rise in Jason's chest. He had seen wrecks before, but never anything like this. Then, he turned a corner and saw something that made him physically sick. In the dim beam of his flashlight, there were scratch marks along the walls, deep, desperate grooves etched into the rusted metal, as if someone had been clawing at the walls, trying to escape. Jason's body reacted before his mind could process it. His stomach turned violently, and he felt himself vomiting inside his regulator. A diver's worst nightmare. He quickly pressed the purge valve to clear his mask, but the sheer horror of what he had just witnessed sent waves of nausea through him. He needed to get out. Fast. Jason pushed himself toward the exit, careful not to disturb anything as he moved back through the wreck. The moment he reached the open hatch, he kicked hard, propelling himself out of the submarine and into the open water. His breathing was ragged. His heart pounded in his chest. Surfacing as quickly as he could without risking decompression sickness, Jason ripped off his mask the moment his head broke the surface, gasping for air. He floated there for a moment, staring down into the depths where the submarine rested. He had to tell someone. After returning to shore, Jason immediately contacted the authorities. A team of underwater archaeologists and military historians arrived within days to investigate his find. After extensive research, they confirmed that the wreck was indeed a long-lost German U-boat from World War II, missing from record since the early 1940s. What shocked the experts even more was that the submarine had never been reported sunk in this location. It had vanished without a trace, presumed lost at sea. The human remains inside suggested that the crew had been trapped inside when the vessel went down. But how? What had caused them to be unable to escape? Some theories suggested mechanical failure. Others believed it was damage from depth charges. But one thing was certain. Those men had spent their final moments fighting to get out. To this day, Jason's discovery remains one of the most chilling deep-sea finds in modern history. A World War II submarine, lost for decades, still holding the remains of its crew, forever sealed in their underwater tomb. Jason never went diving alone again. The ocean holds countless secrets, some that should never be disturbed. What do you think happened to this submarine? Could there be more forgotten wrecks beneath the sea, waiting to be discovered? Let us know in the comments. And if you love real-life discoveries and deep-sea mysteries, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes the past isn't truly buried. It's just waiting to be found.